Hey guys, so today I went to one of my usually bi-weekly therapy sessions, but I haven't been there in about a month maybe. But we were talking about many things, and when I left there I started thinking about something, and that is that the tendency that I have and that I know many others have to, in their pursuit of self-actualization, self-improvement, and aligning their consciousness with virtue and weeding out vice. It's easy to make gods out of things, so to speak, that are traditionally considered virtues. So, we might be trying to avoid engaging in a certain behavior or indulging and entertaining certain thoughts with low vibrations attached to them as we try to change the narratives that we have for so long have governed our thoughts and behaviors and things and dictated our reality. And those vices that we once engaged in, be it pornography, be it drugs, be it alcohol, be it anything that's traditionally considered a vice, we push that away as we try to strip ourselves of these shed these skins of these unrighteous skins and things, and then we thrust ourselves into their opposite, but we become too entrenched in that as well. So now we're operating still in vice, but just on the other side of vice. We fail to exist right in the middle where virtue lies. And so just as one is beholden to a god, so to speak, or a god demands worship and reverence and a strict adherence to the sort of laws that have been traditionally ascribed to our Western conception of God. But now this thing that we're avoiding, this aspect of ourselves that we're trying to shed, we make a sort of God out of that as well, because we're beholden to not engaging in it. We're afraid of it. We at all costs we try to avoid it. So now, as I said, now this can overtake us just as well and just as easily as the opposite side of the coin, the other side of vice, can. And it's very difficult to sort of exist in that middle ground where virtue lies, because when you're trying to self-actualize and distance yourself from past iterations of yourself that were so deeply bound, or so tightly bound by the lower self and our fallen carnal nature, you want to jump in the deep end of the iteration of yourself that is completely separate from these things at all costs. And it's a natural reaction, because that past iteration of yourself was so, whatever it might be, destructive, just not a good version to put out into the world or to have to interact with on your own. And you want to distance yourself so much from that, and it's hard to give yourself leeway and understand that we're all human, and give yourself grace and allow yourself to engage in things in moderation, or to discover what exactly is the proper approach to entertaining these lower aspects, quote unquote, of the human condition. And it's hard to, and I guess it helps to have other people's perspective on these things and the wisdom of others, but at the end of the day you have to, and we have to, make the decision and figure out what is the virtuous middle ground, and how do we apply this to all aspects of our life. And that's just something I was thinking about. And like I said, it's very easy to trick oneself into believing that they are avoiding engaging in this particular thing because they are pursuing virtue, and that is not virtuous. But we can very easily get to a point where we use this as a justification and as a way of convincing ourselves, when in reality this isn't actually the case, and we're still enchanted by the lower self and vice, because our lower selves are very resourceful, they're very cunning, they're very sneaky, and their expertise is preventing our ultimate selves from manifesting. So it takes a lot of thought and a lot of introspection and a lot of a concerted effort to reason through these things and to approach them with a properly orientated mind so that they're able to be discerned at all. Because if we're at a place where, our rate of vibration is extremely low and we're in a low point of consciousness, then, we might not even be able to pick up on these things at all, because they're just operating in a plane that is too elevated for where we currently are. So, and then, my therapist was saying, well, cultivating virtue or self-discipline, which is, I think, a virtue just for the sake of doing it, you have to ask yourself, why are you actually doing it? Is it just to do it? And then, you can maybe engage in some of the things that you are trying to distance yourself from, as long as you are able to not lose yourself in that realm of fantasy or delusion or illusion and this sort of thing. But I was thinking about it, and it was a valid point, I thought, but at the same time, I think cultivating self-discipline just for self-discipline can never be a bad thing for the most part, because the more disciplined you are, the more able you are to count on yourself, and other people are able to count on you, and the highest version of yourself is able to manifest, because you don't forsake it in favor of these impulses and things that require your energy and attention, that distract from manifesting your ultimate self. But also, there's going to come many times in our lives where we need a tremendous reserve of discipline, and if we've been cultivating it for so long, it will be there. Whereas, if we just give ourselves a lot of grace and say, well, I can develop discipline to a certain degree and in regards to certain areas of my life, but in this other area or aspect of it, I can be lax and lazy and this sort of thing. It's just a very nuanced subject that I was getting into with her, and like I said, it's difficult to know or to find, because we have so much conditioning and so much indoctrination, and the wheels of the mind are always spinning. We're usually in our way a lot. So maybe the solution, or it's not that difficult, but the illusion of difficulty is there for those types of reasons. And it's so I guess my question to you guys would be, what do you think about it? Do you think that and the other thing is that when we try to starve the lower self of the endeavors and thoughts and actions and things that it thrives on and that it feeds off of, we sort of develop this tremendous aversion to these things, and it's almost becomes like a monster that must be avoided at all costs. And so we're sort of given to fear at that time, because if I engage in that thing, then I'm going to spiral down this way. So it's a sort of indulgence of the ego as well in that sense, because we're considering things in relation to the self, the individual self, which doesn't really exist. But at the same time, these things that we're trying to avoid, they have caused us tremendous trouble in the past. But should we get to a point where we can indulge them because we've actually done work to elevate our consciousness and vibrate in a higher plane, and now we will not become enchanted or glamorized or have the stardust sprinkled over our eyes, and so now we can find some sort of way to interact with them in a more moderation and without losing ourselves? Or should we just continue on with complete avoidance because we know where we've been and where they've led us before. So that's a question that I pose to you guys, and any feedback would be appreciated on that. And so that, I guess the main point of this video was that, and it was also the idea that mistaking vice for virtue and vice versa, easily becoming duped into believing one when actually it's an absolution that we provide ourselves, and a justification and a means of avoiding these things that we're uncomfortable with, and that sort of thing. That's the other point I wanted to make, and you know, just get your guys' take on it and what you think. And so I think I'm gonna cut it here. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, anything you need advice on, anything you want a different perspective on, anything you might be struggling with, leave that comment. I will read it and do my best to respond. And if you could like this video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, all that is much appreciated. Check out another channel I have, Ray Rivera, where I've done music and art. And keep in mind, the name of this channel, It Never Was About You. And know that the suffering, trials, and tribulations that you go through, which are a necessary component of the human condition and are to be regarded as ultimate blessings and teachers and instigators for growth and the manifestation of our ultimate selves and God's ultimate purpose for us, and how we are to facilitate all of that and have a positive and profound impact on others, and lift as many people as we can up as we lift ourselves up. And know that that's why our suffering is not about us, because, you know, it's to help us ascend to this level where we can do these things. So that's it for this video, and so far I've been successful making a video every day, and I do enjoy doing it, so I'm going to keep doing that. And my goal is, you know, to be of some service to maybe to others, to somebody that needs to hear these sort of messages. And stay tuned for more.